Grok 3. Imagine you are a very good CST student who knows a bit of coding, but not that. Where do I even start with so many things to learn? Laravel, React.js, DSA, and all these languages. Should I focus on one thing at a time or learn a bit of everything together? As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of things to learn, frameworks, languages, data structures, and algorithms, DSA is totally normal. Let's break it down into a clear, actionable plan tailored to your beginner to intermediate coding skills and enthusiasm. I'll address whether to focus on one thing at a time or learn a bit of everything, keeping it practical and motivating. Should you focus on one thing or learn a bit of everything? For someone like you, focusing on one area at a time is generally the most effective way to build confidence and avoid burnout, but with a structured plan that gradually incorporates other areas. Laravel, backend, React.js, frontend, DSA, and programming languages, like PHP, JavaScript, are interconnected in full-stack development, but trying to learn them all simultaneously can lead to shallow understanding and frustration. Instead, prioritize depth in one area while keeping the big picture in mind, then layer in the others strategically. This approach ensures you gain practical skills quickly while preparing for the full-stack role. Here's why and how. Why focus? As a beginner, mastering one skill, e.g., JavaScript for React, builds a strong foundation, boosts your confidence, and makes learning related skills, e.g., React, easier. Splitting focus too early can make progress feel slow, especially since Laravel and React require different mindsets, server-side versus client-side. Why not completely ignore the others? Full-stack development requires a holistic understanding. Occasional exposure to related areas, e.g., basic PHP while learning JavaScript, keeps you aware of how things connect, like how a React frontend talks to a Laravel backend via APIs. The balance: focus 70 to 80% of your time on one primary skill, and use 20 to 30% to explore related concepts or experiment with small projects that tie things together. This keeps learning engaging and relevant to your full-stack goal. Step-by-step plan to start learning. Here's a practical roadmap to get you started, assuming you have basic coding knowledge, e.g., some HTML/CSS, intro to programming, but aren't advanced yet. The plan prioritizes quick wins, hands-on practice, and gradual expansion to cover Laravel, React.js, DSA, and languages. 1. Start with JavaScript, 1 to 2 months. Why? JavaScript is the backbone of React.js and a key language for web development. It's also used in APIs, which you'll need for Laravel React integration. Starting here gives you a versatile foundation for front-end and full-stack work. What to learn? Basics: variables, functions, loops, conditionals, arrays, objects. ES6+, arrow functions, destructuring, promises, async/await. DOM manipulation, how JavaScript interacts with HTML/CSS. Basics of APIs, fetching data with fetch or Axios. How to learn? Resources: FreeCodeCamp's JavaScript course, javascript.info, or Eloquent JavaScript, free book. Practice: build small projects like a to-do list or a weather app using vanilla JavaScript. Tools: use CodePen or VS Code for coding, and Chrome DevTools for debugging. Why not PHP first? JavaScript is more beginner-friendly and immediately rewarding, you see results in the browser. PHP, for Laravel, is more server-focused and can feel abstract early on. Time split: spend 80% on JavaScript, 20% skimming PHP basics, e.g., variables, functions, to get a feel for it. 2. Move to React.js, 2 to 3 months. Why? Once you're comfortable with JavaScript, React.js is a natural next step for front-end development. It's in high demand, and learning it now lets you build interactive UIs, which is exciting and portfolio-friendly. What to learn? React basics: components, props, state, JSX. Hooks: use state, use effect, use context. Routing: React Router for multi-page apps. API integration: fetching data from public APIs, e.g., a movie database. How to learn? Resources: React official docs, Scrimba's free React course, or YouTube channels like NetNinja. Practice: build a small app, like a task tracker or a simple e-commerce frontend, that fetches data from an API. Projects: create a portfolio site to showcase your work. Tie-in with full stack: experiment with a public API, e.g., JSON placeholder, to understand how a frontend, React, talks to a backend, preparing you for Laravel. Time split: 70% React, 20% continuing JavaScript practice, 10% reading about Laravel, e.g., what it is, MVC structure. 3. Learn PHP and Laravel, 3 to 4 months. Why? With JavaScript and React under your belt, you're ready for backend development. PHP powers Laravel, and Laravel is a powerful, beginner-friendly framework for building APIs and server-side logic. What to learn? PHP basics, syntax, functions, arrays, working with forms. Laravel basics, MVC, model view controller, routing, migrations, eloquent ORM. Building APIs, creating RESTful APIs with Laravel. Authentication, user login/register systems. How to learn. Resources, Laravel's official docs, Laracasts, great for beginners, or Traversy Media's Laravel tutorials. Practice, build a simple CRUD app, e.g., a blog or task manager, with Laravel. Full stack practice, create a project where your React frontend connects to a Laravel API, e.g., a to-do app with user authentication. Tools, use Laravel's built-in tools, Artisan, MySQL for databases, and Postman for testing APIs. Time split, 70% PHP/Laravel, 20% maintaining React skills, small updates to your projects, 10% exploring basic DSA, see below. 4. Introduce DSA gradually, ongoing, 2 to 3 months alongside Laravel/React. Why? DSA, data structures and algorithms, is critical for job interviews and optimizing code, but it's less urgent for building projects early on. Start lightly while you're learning Laravel/React, then ramp up once you're comfortable with full-stack basics. What to learn? Basic data structures, arrays, linked lists, stacks, queues. Basic algorithms, sorting, searching, recursion. Problem solving, common patterns like sliding window or two-pointer. How to learn. Resources, FreeCodeCamp's DSA course, LeetCode's Easy Problems, or Grokking Algorithms book. Practice, solve 1 to 2 problems per week on LeetCode or HackerRank, focusing on JavaScript or PHP. Apply to projects, use DSA concepts in your apps, e.g., sorting tasks in your React app or optimizing a Laravel query. Time split, initially, 10 to 20% of your study time on DSA, 1 to 2 hours/week. After Laravel/React, increase to 30 to 40% as you prepare for job interviews. 5. Build full-stack projects, 2 to 3 months. Why? Projects tie everything together and make you job-ready. They show employers you can build real apps with Laravel, backend, React, frontend, and basic DSA, optimization. Project ideas. Task Manager, React frontend, Laravel API, user authentication. E-commerce store, product listing, React, cart functionality, and payment integration, Laravel. Blog platform, CRUD operations, comments, and search, apply DSA for search optimization. How to do it. Plan the app, frontend plus backend features. Build the Laravel API first, test with Postman. Create the React frontend to consume the API. Deploy to a platform like Heroku or Vercel. Portfolio, host projects on GitHub, deploy them online, and create a portfolio site to showcase them. 6. Prepare for jobs/freelancing, ongoing. Polish skills, refine your projects, optimize code, and document your work. Learn extras, basics of Git, testing, e.g., PHP unit for Laravel, Jest for React, and deployment. Job prep, practice DSA for interviews, apply to internships or freelance gigs on Upwork/LinkedIn. Network, join Laravel/React communities, e.g., Reddit, Discord, or X's #WebDev posts. Key tips to stay on track. Set a schedule, study 10 to 15 hours/week, e.g., 2 hours per day plus extra on weekends. Adjust based on your pace. Build as you learn, small projects reinforce concepts and keep you motivated. Avoid tutorial hell, follow tutorials for structure, but code along and tweak projects yourself. Track progress, use a journal or Trello to log what you've learned and built. Stay motivated, follow developers on X. At Laravel. At React.js. For inspiration and tips. Why this order? JavaScript first, it's versatile, beginner-friendly, and powers React. You'll see results fast, e.g., interactive web pages. React next, builds on JavaScript, lets you create modern UIs, and is highly employable. PHP/Laravel after, backend is more complex, but React experience makes API integration easier to grasp. DSA gradually, it's abstract early on, so start small and apply it to projects later. Projects last, they combine everything, making you job ready. What if you want to learn a bit of everything? If you prefer sampling multiple areas, e.g., to stay motivated or explore, you can, but keep it structured. Weekly split, 40% JavaScript, 20% PHP, 20% React intro, 10% Laravel intro, 10% DSA. Microprojects, build a tiny app, e.g., a form that saves data, using both Laravel and React early on. Risk, progress may be slower, and you might feel scattered. If you choose this, set clear weekly goals, e.g., learn JavaScript arrays plus Laravel routing. I recommend the focused approach, one skill at a time, because it builds momentum and reduces overwhelm, but if you're super curious, a hybrid approach with clear boundaries can work. Final advice. Start with JavaScript today. Try Free Code Camp's JavaScript section or build a simple web page. In 6 to 12 months, with consistent effort, you'll be building full-stack apps and ready to apply for jobs. The key is to code daily, build projects, and enjoy the process. You're passionate, which is half the battle. Now channel that into small, steady steps. If you want, I can suggest a specific JavaScript tutorial, break down a project idea, or even check X for recent Laravel/React tips from devs. What's your next step? Explore JavaScript fundamentals. As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, diving into JavaScript fundamentals is the perfect starting point. JavaScript is the cornerstone of web development, powering dynamic and interactive front-ends, like React, and even back-end logic, via APIs. Since you're a beginner to intermediate coder, I'll explain the core JavaScript concepts in a clear, practical way, keeping it engaging and tied to your goal of becoming a full-stack developer. I'll also suggest hands-on ways to practice and connect these fundamentals to Laravel/React projects. Let's explore why JavaScript fundamentals matter. JavaScript is the language of the web, used in 98% of websites, per 2023 web stats. For your goals. React.js, built on JavaScript, requiring mastery of functions, objects, and modern ES6+ features. Laravel, you'll use JavaScript to fetch data from Laravel APIs and update your React frontend. Full-stack, JavaScript bridges frontend, UI, and backend, API, logic, making it essential for your career. Learning the fundamentals now ensures you understand how and why things work in React or Laravel APIs, avoiding the trap of just copy-pasting code. Core JavaScript fundamentals. Below are the key JavaScript concepts you need to master, explained simply with examples and their relevance to full-stack development. I'll focus on what's most practical for a beginner aiming for Laravel/React. 1. Variables and data types. What? Variables store data, like numbers, text, or objects. JavaScript has 3 ways to declare them: var, let. Constant data types include strings, numbers, booleans, arrays, and objects. Example. JavaScript. Let name equals Alex // string const age equals 25 / number let is student equals true / boolean let skills sad face HTML CSS JavaScript / array let user equals name Alex age 25 / object. Why it matters. In React, you'll store component data in variables, e.g., const, count, setCount, equals useState, 0, for a counter. In Laravel, you'll send / receive JSON objects, like user, via APIs. Use const for values that won't change, let for values that will, e.g., counters. Practice. Create a variable for your name, age, and skills array. Log them to the console, console.log, name, age, skills. 2. Functions. What? Functions are reusable blocks of code that perform tasks. You can declare them with function or arrow syntax, ES6. Example. JavaScript. // regular function greet, name, return hello, $name, // arrow function, ES6, const add sad face a, b, equals, a plus b, console.log, greet, Alex, // hello, Alex, console.log, add, 2, 3, // 5. Why it matters. React, components are functions, e.g., const myComponent equals h1 hello /h1. Laravel, you'll write functions to process API data, e.g., formatting user info. Arrow functions are concise and common in React. Practice. Write a function that takes a skill array and returns a string like my skills, HTML, CSS. Try both regular and arrow function syntax. 3. Conditionals and loops. What? Conditionals, if, else, control logic flow. Loops, for, while, repeat tasks. Example. JavaScript. // conditional let score equals 85, if, score greater than or equal to 90, console.log, a, else, console.log, b, // loop let skills sad face HTML, CSS, JS, for, let skill of skills, console.log, skill. Why it matters. React, conditionals render UI dynamically, e.g., if, user, show profile. Laravel, loops process database results, e.g., looping over users in an API response. For, of, and for each are common for arrays. Practice. Write an if statement to check if a number is positive, negative, or 0. Loop through an array of numbers and print only even ones. 4. Arrays and array methods. What? Arrays store lists of data. Methods like map, filter, and for each manipulate them. Example. JavaScript. Let numbers sad face 1, 2, 3, 4, / map. Transform each element let double equals numbers dot map. Number equals a number asterisk 2, / 2, 4, 6, 8, / filter. Select elements let evens equals numbers dot filter. Number equals a number % 2 = 0, / 2, 4. Why it matters. React, you will use map to render lists, e.g., li, items.map, item equals item.name, /li. Laravel, arrays hold API data, e.g., list of products. Map and filter are React staples for dynamic UIs. Practice. Create an array of skills and use filter to get skills starting with J. Use map to add exclamation point to each skill, e.g., HTML. 5. Objects. What? Objects store key-value pairs, like real-world entities, e.g., a user. Example. JavaScript. Let user equals name Alex age 25 greet function return hi I'm $this.name console.log user.name / Alex console.log user.greet / hi I'm Alex. Why it matters. React, state and props are objects, e.g., name Alex age 25. Laravel, JSON responses are objects, e.g., ID 1 title post. Objects are the backbone of API communication. Practice. Create an object for a blog post, title, author, date. Add a method to return a summary, e.g., title by author. 6. DOM manipulation. What? The document object model, DOM, lets JavaScript interact with HTML/CSS. Example. JavaScript. / select element let button equals document.query selector, hashtag my button, / add event listener button dot add event listener, click, comma, equals document.query selector, hashtag message, dot text content equals, clicked. Why it matters. React builds on DOM concepts, though React abstracts it with a virtual DOM. Full stack, you'll manipulate the DOM for early projects before React. Event listeners are key for interactive apps. Practice. Create an HTML button and use JavaScript to change text when clicked. Build a simple counter, increment/decrement buttons. 7. ES6 Plus features. What? Modern JavaScript, ES6 Plus, adds powerful features like arrow functions, destructuring, and promises. Example. JavaScript. / destructuring let name age equals name Alex age 25 console.log name / Alex / promises for async fetch https://api.example.com/data.then response equals response.json.then data equals console.log data. Why it matters. React uses ES6 Plus heavily, e.g., arrow functions in components, destructuring props. Laravel, promises handle API calls, e.g., fetching data from your Laravel backend. ES6 Plus makes code cleaner and is expected in modern jobs. Practice. Destructure an object to extract specific properties. Use fetch to get data from a public API, e.g., JSON placeholder. 8. Asynchronous JavaScript. What? JavaScript handles tasks, like API calls, that take time using promises, async/await. Example. JavaScript. Async function get data, try, let response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, let data equals await response.json, console.log, data, catch, error, console.log, error, get data. Why it matters. React, you'll fetch data from Laravel APIs to display in components. Laravel, async JavaScript connects your frontend to backend APIs. Async/await simplifies promise handling. Practice. Fetch posts from JSON placeholder and log the titles. Display the titles in an HTML list. How to learn JavaScript fundamentals. Here's a practical plan to master these concepts over 1 to 2 months, 10 to 15 hours/week, tailored to your beginner level and full stack goals. Learning resources. Free Codecamp, interactive JavaScript course, free, beginner friendly. JavaScript.info, clear explanations with examples. MDN Web Docs, official reference for deep dives, e.g., search MDN JavaScript arrays. YouTube, channels like Traversy Media or the Net Ninja for visual tutorials. Books, Eloquent JavaScript, free online, for a structured approach. Practice strategy. Daily coding, spend 1 to 2 hours coding, e.g., 1 hour on concepts, 1 hour on a mini project. Mini projects. To-do list, use arrays, functions, and DOM to add, remove tasks. Weather app, fetch data from a public API and display it. Quiz app, use conditionals and objects to score answers. Tools. VS Code, for writing code. Chrome DevTools, for debugging, console, inspect elements. CodePen, for quick HTML/CSS/JS experiments. Track progress, keep a notebook or GitHub repo with your code snippets and projects. Tie to Laravel/React. React prep, arrays, map, functions, and objects are critical for components and state. Laravel prep, practice fetching API data, e.g., JSON placeholder, to mimic Laravel API calls. Full stack, build a small app, e.g., task list, with vanilla JavaScript now, then rebuild it with React/Laravel later. Sample 1-month plan. Week 1, variables, data types, functions, conditionals. Task, build a simple calculator, add, subtract, with HTML inputs. Week 2, arrays, loops, objects. Task, create a skill list app that filters skills by category. Week 3, DOM manipulation, event listeners. Task, build a counter with increment/decrement buttons. Week 4, ES6+, destructuring, arrow functions, async/await. Task, fetch and display posts from JSON placeholder. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Overwhelm, don't try advanced topics, e.g., closures, yet, stick to fundamentals. Tutorial hell, code along with tutorials, but tweak the code yourself, e.g., change a to-do list to a grocery list. No practice, build something daily, even if small, e.g., a button that changes color. Ignoring errors, use DevTools to understand errors, not just Google them. Why this matters for your goals. Mastering these fundamentals will make React feel intuitive, e.g., components are just functions, and Laravel APIs easier to work with, e.g., handling JSON objects. In 1 to 2 months, you'll be ready to start React, and in 6 to 12 months, you could be building full-stack apps. Your enthusiasm is your superpower, pair it with consistent practice, and you'll be unstoppable. Next steps. Today, try FreeCodeCamp's JavaScript section, 1 hour, and create a variable-based profile object. This week, build a simple to-do list with vanilla JavaScript, HTML/CSS for UI. Need help? I can suggest a specific tutorial, debug a code snippet, or search X for recent JavaScript tips from devs. What's one JavaScript concept you're excited to try, or do you want a specific example/project to start with? Explore ES6 features. As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, diving into ES6, ECMAScript 2015, and later features is a fantastic step. ES6 introduced powerful, modern JavaScript features that make code more concise, readable, and efficient, crucial for building React frontends and working with Laravel APIs. Since you're a beginner to intermediate coder, I'll explain the key ES6+ features in a clear, practical way, focusing on how they apply to your full-stack goals. I'll include examples, practice ideas, and tie them to Laravel/React to keep you motivated. Let's explore. Why ES6+ features matter. ES6 and later versions, ES7, ES8, etc., revolutionized JavaScript, making it the standard for modern web development. For your goals. React.js relies heavily on ES6+, e.g., arrow functions, destructuring, and modules for components. Laravel, ES6+ simplifies API interactions, e.g., async/await for fetching data from Laravel endpoints. Full stack, these features streamline both front-end and back-end code, making you more employable and productive. Job market, employers expect ES6+ proficiency, as it's used in 95% plus of modern JavaScript projects, per 2023 Stack Overflow surveys. Mastering ES6+ now will make React feel intuitive and prepare you for clean, professional code in full-stack projects. Key ES6+ features. Below are the most important ES6+ features for a beginner aiming for Laravel/React, explained simply with examples and their relevance to full-stack development. I'll focus on practical applications and avoid overwhelming you with less common features. 1. Let and const, ES6. What? Let and const are modern alternatives to var for declaring variables. Let allows reassignment, while const is for values that won't change. Both have block scope, limited to, unlike var's function scope. Example. JavaScript. Let score equals 10, score equals 20//works const max score equals 100//max score equals 200 // error. Const can't be reassigned if, true, let temp equals, inside, / only exists in this block console.log, temp, // inside, / console.log, temp, / error. Temp is undefined. Let score equals 10, score equals 20 / works const max score equals 100 / max score equals 200 / error. Const can't be reassigned if true. Let temp equals inside / only exists in this block console.log temp / inside / console.log temp / error. Temp is undefined. Why it matters. React, const is used for state and props, e.g., const, count, set count, equals use state, 0, while let is rare but useful for temporary variables. Laravel, use const for fixed API URLs, e.g., const AP_URL equals /API/posts. Benefit, block scope prevents bugs, e.g., accidental variable reuse, and const enforces immutability, a React best practice. Practice. Create a const for a user's name and a let for their score. Update the score but try, and fail, to reassign the name. Write a function with a block-scoped let variable and verify it's inaccessible outside. 2. Arrow functions, ES6. What? Arrow functions, equals, are a concise syntax for writing functions, with implicit returns for one-liners and a simpler this binding, lexical scoping. Example. JavaScript. // regular function add a b return a plus b / arrow function const add sad face a b equals a plus b / implicit return const greet equals name equals hello dollar name / single parung no parentheses console.log add 2 3 / 5 console.log greet Alex / hello Alex. Why it matters. React, arrow functions are standard for event handlers and components, e.g., const myComponent equals h1 hi /h1. Laravel, use them in API calls, e.g., .then, data equals console.log, data. Benefit, shorter syntax and no this binding issues in callbacks, common in React. Practice. Convert a regular function, e.g., function multiply, x, y, return x * y, to an arrow function. Write an arrow function to format a Laravel API response, e.g., extract post titles. 3. Template literals, ES6. What? Template literals use backtick symbol, for strings, allowing embedded expressions, $ and multi-line strings. Example. JavaScript. Const name equals Alex, const greeting equals hello, $name, / embed variable const multiline equals line 1 line 2, console.log, greeting, / hello, Alex, console.log, multiline, / multiline output. Why it matters. React, template literals format dynamic content, e.g., PL welcome, $user.name, /p. Laravel, useful for constructing API queries or logging, e.g., fetch, /API/users $ID. Benefit, cleaner than concatenation, hello, plus name. Practice. Create a template literal for a user profile, e.g., name, Alex, age, 25. Write a multi-line string for an HTML snippet to display in a React component. 4. Destructuring, ES6. What? Destructuring extracts values from objects or arrays into variables in one line. Example. JavaScript. // object destructuring const user equals name Alex age 25 const name age equals user console.log name age / Alex 25 / array destructuring const skills sad face HTML CSS JS const first second equals skills console.log first second / HTML CSS. Why it matters. React, destructure props, e.g., const title equals props, and state in components. Laravel, simplify API response handling, e.g., const ID title equals post. Benefit, reduces boilerplate and improves readability. Practice. Destructure a mock Laravel API response, e.g., ID 1 title post to log the title. Destructure an array of skills to assign the first two to variables. 5. Spread and REST operators, ES6. What? Spread, copies or combines arrays / objects. REST, collects remaining elements / arguments. Example. JavaScript. // spread const nums sad face 1, 2, 3, const new nums, sad face, nums, 4, 5, // 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, const user equals, name Alex, age 25, const updated user equals, user, role, dev, / name Alex, age 25, role, dev, / rest constant sad face, numbers, equals, numbers.reduce, total, number, equals, total plus number, 0, console.log, sum, 1, 2, 3, 4, / 10. Why it matters. React, spread props, e.g., component, props, / or merge state, e.g., set state, state, key, value. Laravel, combine API data, e.g., merge user data with defaults. Benefit, simplifies array / object manipulation and flexible function arguments. Practice. Use spread to combine two arrays of skills. Write a function with rest to log all arguments passed to it. 6. Default parameters, ES6. What functions can have default values for parameters if none are provided? Example. JavaScript. Const greet sad face name equals guest equals hello dollar name console.log greet / hello guest console.log greet Alex / hello Alex. Why it matters. React, default props, e.g., myComponent.default props equals title, default. Laravel, default values in API helpers, e.g., fetch data, page equals 1. Benefit, reduces conditional checks for missing arguments. Practice. Write a function with a default parameter for a user's role, e.g., user. Test it with and without an argument. 7. Modules, ES6. What modules let you split code into files using export and import? Example. JavaScript. / utils.jexport const sad face a b equals a plus b export const pi equals 3.14 / main.gimport add pi from ./utils.js console.log add 2 3 / 5 console.log pi / 3.14. Why it matters. React, every component is a module, e.g., import myComponent from ./myComponent. Laravel, organize API utility functions in modules. Benefit, modular code is reusable and maintainable, critical for large projects. Practice. Create a module with a function to format dates and import it into another file. Export an object with user data and import it elsewhere. Elsewhere. 8. Promises and async / await, ES6, ES7. What promises handle asynchronous operations, e.g., API calls? Async / await simplifies promise syntax. Example. JavaScript. / promise seconds fetch data sad face equals return fetch https // placeholder.typicode.com /posts then response equals response.json then data equals data / async / await const get posts equals async equals try const response equals await fetch https // json placeholder.typicode.com /posts const data equals await response.json return data catch error console.log error get posts then posts equals console.log posts. Why it matters. React, fetch Laravel API data in components, e.g., use effect with async / await. Laravel, async / await simplifies API calls, e.g., await fetch / API / posts. Benefit, cleaner async code, essential for real-time apps. Practice. Fetch posts from JSON placeholder using both promises and async / await. Display the first post's title in an HTML element. 9. Array methods enhancements, ES6+. What? ES6+ improves array methods like map, filter, find, and reduce for functional programming. Example. JavaScript. Const numbers sad face 1, 2, 3, 4, const doubled equals numbers dot map, number equals a number asterisk 2, / 2, 4, 6, 8, const evens equals numbers dot filter, number equals a number percent 2 equals 0, / 2, 4, const found equals numbers dot find, number equals a number 2, / 3, const sum equals numbers dot reduce, total, number equals total plus number 0, / 10. Why it matters. React, map renders lists, e.g., posts.map, post equals post key equals, post.id, / Laravel, process API data, e.g., filter posts by category. Benefit, functional programming reduces bugs and is React's default style. Practice. Use map to transform an array of skills into uppercase. Use filter to get posts with IDs greater than 5 from a mock API response. How to learn ES6+ features. Here's a practical plan to master these features over 2 to 4 weeks, 10 to 15 hours / week, tailored to your beginner to intermediate level and full stack goals. Learning resources. Free Code Camp, ES6 section, free, interactive challenges. JavaScript.info, detailed ES6+ tutorials, e.g., promises, async / await. MDN web docs, reference for syntax, e.g., search, MDN destructuring. YouTube, channels like Traversy Media or Academine for ES6 tutorials. Westboss, ES6 for everyone, paid, but free snippets online. Practice strategy. Daily coding, spend 1 hour on a feature, e.g., destructuring, and 1 hour applying it in a mini project. Mini projects. Task list, use map and arrow functions to display tasks, async / await to fetch from an API. User profile, destructure API data, use template literals for display. Calculator module, export functions with default parameters using modules. Tools. VS Code, for coding and module support, use Node.js or a bundler like Vite. Chrome DevTools, debug async code and inspect arrays. CodePen, test small ES6 snippets with HTML / CSS. Track progress, save code in a GitHub repo, noting which features you've used. Tie to Laravel / React. React prep, practice map, arrow functions, and destructuring for components, e.g., render a list of posts. Laravel prep, use async / await to fetch mock API data, mimicking Laravel endpoints. Full stack, build a small app, e.g., display posts, with ES6+ fetching data from JSON placeholder. Sample 2-week plan. Week 1. Day 1 to 2, let / const, arrow functions. Task, rewrite a to-do list with arrow functions. Day 3 to 4, template literals, destructuring. Task, display a user profile from an object. Day 5 to 7, spread / rest, default parameters. Task, create a function to merge user data. Week 2. Day 1 to 2, modules. Task, split a task app into modules, e.g., utils.js. Day 3 to 4, promises, async / await. Task, fetch and display API data. Day 5 to 7, array methods. Task, build a filterable task list with map and filter. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Old habits, avoid var and regular functions in React code, use let / const and arrows. Overcomplicating, stick to simple async / await instead of chaining .then, until comfortable. No modules, practice modules early, use Node.js or a simple bundler, to mimic React's structure. Skipping practice, apply each feature in a small project, not just tutorials. Why this matters for your goals. ES6+ is the foundation of modern JavaScript, making React components and Laravel API calls easier to write and maintain. In 2 to 4 weeks, you'll write cleaner code, and in 3 to 6 months, you'll be ready for React and full-stack projects. Your enthusiasm will carry you far, pair it with hands-on coding to shine. Next steps. Today, try FreeCodeCamp's ES6 section, 1 hour, and rewrite a function using arrow syntax. This week, build a small task list using map, destructuring, and async / await to fetch data. Need help? I can provide a specific ES6 example, debug code, or check X for recent ES6 tips from devs. Which ES6 feature are you most excited to try, or want a specific project to practice with? Explore async / await. As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, mastering async / await is a crucial step. Introduced in ES 2017, building on ES6 promises, async / await simplifies asynchronous JavaScript, making it easier to handle tasks like fetching data from APIs, which is essential for connecting React frontends to Laravel backends. Since you're a beginner to intermediate coder, I'll explain async/await in a clear, practical way, with examples, practice ideas, and direct ties to your full-stack goals. Let's dive in. What is async/await? Async/await is a modern syntax for handling asynchronous operations in JavaScript, making code look synchronous, linear, while still being non-blocking. It's built on promises, which represent operations that haven't completed yet, e.g., fetching data from an API. Async declares a function as asynchronous, meaning it returns a promise and can use await inside. Await pauses execution inside an async function until a promise resolves, yielding the result. Why it matters for you? React, you'll use async/await to fetch data from Laravel APIs and update your UI, e.g., displaying posts in a component. Laravel, it simplifies client-side code that interacts with your Laravel backend, e.g., fetching/API/users. Full stack, most real-world web apps rely on async operations for data fetching, file uploads, or database queries. Benefit, cleaner, more readable code compared to chaining.then, with promises, reducing bugs and confusion. How async/await works. Here's a quick breakdown with a simple analogy. Imagine ordering food at a restaurant. The waiter, JavaScript, takes your order, API request, and works on other tasks while the kitchen, server, prepares it. With promises, you check repeatedly if the food is ready, then. With async/await, you wait at your table, pause the function, until the food arrives, but the waiter is still free to serve others, non-blocking. Basic syntax. JavaScript. // declare an async function. Function async function get data, // await a promise const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, const data equals await response.json, return data, // call the function get data, then, data equals console.log, data. Key points. Async functions always return a promise. Await can only be used inside async functions. Await pauses only the async function, not the entire program. Async/await in action. Let's explore async/await with examples, starting simple and building to full-stack scenarios relevant to Laravel/React. Example 1, Basic API Fetch. Fetch posts from a public API, mimicking a Laravel endpoint. JavaScript. Async function fetch posts, try, const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, const posts equals await response.json, console.log, posts, // array of posts, catch, error, console.error, error fetching posts, error, fetch posts. Breakdown. Fetch returns a promise for the HTTP response. Await response.json converts the response to JSON, also a promise. Try/catch handles errors, e.g., network failure. Why it's great, reads like synchronous code, no.then, chains. For you, this is how you'll fetch data from a Laravel API, e.g., /API/posts, in a React app. Example 2, displaying data in HTML. Connect async/await to a web page, a step toward React. HTML. doc2yp HTML body YOLID equals post list /o script async function display posts try const response equals await fetch https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts const posts equals await response.json const list equals document.get element by id post list posts.slice 0 5 .for each post equals constly equals document.create element li text content equals post.title list.append child li catch error console.error error display posts /script/body/html. Breakdown. Fetches posts and displays the first 5 titles in a YOL. Uses DOM manipulation, a precursor to React's rendering. For you, in React, you'll use async/await in useEffect to fetch and render data similarly. Example 3, simulating a Laravel API call. Mimic fetching user data from a Laravel backend. JavaScript. Async function get user ID, try, const response equals await fetch, https://john placeholder.typicode.com/users/$ user ID, if, response. OK, thrown error, user not found, const user equals await response.json, return, name, user.name email, user.email, catch, error, console.error, error fetching user, error, return null, // call with async/await in another async function show user, const user equals await get user, 1, console.log, user, // name, Leanne Graham, email, sincere@april.biz. Show user. Breakdown. Uses a dynamic URL, $user ID, like a Laravel route, /API/users/ID. Error handling ensures robustness. For you, this mirrors fetching user data from your Laravel API in a React app. Example 4, React integration. Here's how async/await fits into a React component, simplified for your level. JavaScript. Import React, useState, useEffect, from React, function post_list, const, posts, set posts, equals useState, useEffect, equals, async function fetch posts, try, const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, const data equals await response.json, set posts, data.slice, 0, 5, catch, error, console.error, error, fetch posts, comma, // empty array equals run once on not return, all, posts.map, post equals, lee key equals, post.id, post.title, /lead/all, export default post list. Breakdown. useEffect runs the async function when the component mounts. Set posts updates state, triggering a re-render. Map renders the list, using ES6 features you're learning. For you, this is the exact pattern for fetching Laravel API data in React. Why async/await is better than promises. Compare the same fetch with promises versus async/await. Promises. JavaScript. Fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, then, response equals response.json, then, data equals console.log, data.catch, error equals console.error, error. Async/await. JavaScript. Async function fetch posts, try, const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, const data equals await response.json, console.log, data, catch, error, console.error, error, fetch posts. Advantages of async/await. Readability, looks like synchronous code, easier to follow. Error handling, try/catch is more intuitive than .catch. Chaining, avoids nested .then, for complex logic. Debugging, easier to set breakpoints and trace errors. For you, in React, async/await keeps your component code clean. In Laravel, it simplifies front-end API calls. Common use cases for async/await. Here's how async/await applies to your full-stack journey. Fetching API data, get posts, users, or products from Laravel's RESTful API. User authentication, verify tokens or fetch user profiles after login. File uploads, send images to a Laravel endpoint and await the response. Real-time updates, poll a Laravel API for new data, e.g., chat messages. Database queries, while Laravel handles backend queries, async/await manages front-end requests. How to learn async/await. Here's a practical plan to master async/await over 1 to 2 weeks, 5 to 10 hours/week, tailored to your beginner to intermediate level and full-stack goals. Learning resources. Free Code Camp, asynchronous JavaScript, section, free, includes async/await. JavaScript.info, async/await, and promises, articles for clear explanations. MDN Web Docs, reference for async/await syntax and examples. YouTube, Traversy Media's Async.js crash course, or the Net Ninja's async tutorials. Laracasts, JavaScript Fetch API, some free videos, ties to Laravel. Practice strategy. Daily coding, spend 30 minutes on theory, e.g., reading MDN, and 1 hour coding. Mini projects. Post viewer, fetch and display 5 posts from JSON placeholder in HTML. User card, fetch a user by ID and show their name/email. Search app, fetch posts and filter by title using an input field. Tools. VS Code, for coding and running scripts, use a simple server like Live Server for HTML. Chrome DevTools, inspect network requests and debug errors. Postman, test a mock Laravel API, e.g., JSON placeholder, to understand responses. Track progress. Save code in a GitHub repo, noting each async/await use case. Tie to Laravel/React. React prep. Practice fetching data in vanilla.js, then try in a React use effect. Laravel prep. Use JSON placeholder as a stand-in for Laravel APIs, focusing on dynamic URLs, e.g., /posts/1. Full stack. Build a small app that fetches and displays data, mimicking a React Laravel project. Sample 1-week plan. Day 1, read javascript.info's async/await and write a basic fetch function. Day 2, fetch posts and log them. Add try/catch for errors. Day 3, display posts in an HTML tol using DOM manipulation. Day 4, fetch a user by ID with a dynamic URL, e.g., /users/1. Day 5, combine multiple API calls, e.g., fetch user and their posts. Day 6 to 7, build a mini project, a post viewer with a load more button. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Forgetting async, await only works in async functions. Always declare async. Fix, check for async if you see await is a reserved word errors. No error handling, always use try/catch to handle network or API failures. Fix, wrap await in try/catch and log errors. Blocking code, don't use await outside async or in non-async contexts, e.g., top-level code. Fix, wrap in an async function or use top-level await, Node.js 14 plus or modules. Overcomplicating, stick to simple fetches before tackling parallel promise.all. Fix, master single await calls first. Why this matters for your goals. Async/await is the backbone of data fetching in modern web apps, bridging your React frontend to Laravel's backend. In 1 to 2 weeks, you'll confidently fetch and display API data, and in 2 to 3 months, you'll integrate this into React components calling Laravel APIs. Your enthusiasm is a huge asset. Combine it with hands-on practice to accelerate your full-stack journey. Next steps. Today, try FreeCodeCamp's async/await challenge, 30 minutes, and fetch posts from JSON placeholder. This week, build a simple post viewer in HTML/JS using async/await. Need help? I can debug a code snippet, suggest a specific project, or search X for recent async/await tips from devs. What part of async/await are you most excited to try, or want a tailored example/project for? Explore Fetch API. As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, mastering the Fetch API is a key step toward building dynamic web applications. The Fetch API is a modern JavaScript interface for making HTTP requests, e.g., fetching data from APIs, replacing older methods like XML HTTP request. It's essential for connecting your React frontend to a Laravel backend via APIs. Since you're a beginner to intermediate coder, I'll explain the Fetch API in a clear, practical way, focusing on its use with async/await, building on your interest in that topic, providing examples, practice ideas, and direct ties to your Laravel/React goals. Let's dive in. What is the Fetch API? The Fetch API is a built-in JavaScript interface for making HTTP requests, get, post, put, delete, etc., to servers, typically to retrieve or send data. It returns a promise, making it perfect for use with async/await to handle asynchronous operations like fetching JSON from a Laravel API. Key features. Simplifies HTTP requests with a clean, promise-based syntax. Supports JSON, text, and other data formats. Handles headers, query parameters, and request bodies for full API interaction. Built into modern browsers, no external libraries needed, unlike Axios, an alternative. Why it matters for you. React, you'll use Fetch to get data from Laravel APIs, e.g., /API/posts, and display it in components. Laravel, Fetch enables your frontend to interact with Laravel's RESTful APIs, e.g., fetching users or creating posts. Full stack, most web apps rely on API calls for dynamic data, making Fetch a core skill. Benefit, native to JavaScript, Fetch is lightweight and widely used, preparing you for real-world projects. How the Fetch API works. The Fetch API uses the fetch function, which takes a URL and optional configuration, e.g., method, headers, body, and returns a promise that resolves to a response object. Basic syntax. JavaScript. Async function get data, try, const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, const data equals await response.json, console.log, data, catch, error, console.error, error, get data. Key components. Fetch, URL, options initiates the request. URL is the endpoint, options configures method, headers, etc. Response, a promise resolving to a response object with properties like OK, status, and methods like .json. .json, a method to parse the response body as JSON, also returning a promise. Try/catch, handles errors, e.g., network issues, invalid JSON. Analogy, think of fetch as mailing a letter, request, to a server. The server sends back a package, response, which you open, .json, to get the contents, data. Async/await makes it feel like you're waiting for the mail without freezing the post office, browser. Fetch API in action. Let's explore the Fetch API with practical examples, starting simple and building to scenarios relevant to Laravel/React. All examples use async/await for clarity and tie to your full-stack goals. Example 1, basic GET request. Fetch a list of posts from a public API, mimicking a Laravel endpoint. JavaScript. Async function fetch posts, try, const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, if, response.ok, thrown error, http error. Status, $response.status, const posts equals await response.json, console.log, posts, / array of posts, catch, error, console.error, error fetching posts, error, fetch posts. Breakdown. Fetch sends a GET request by default. Response.ok checks if the status is 200 to 299, success. .json parses the response body. For you, this is how you'll fetch data from a Laravel route like /API/posts. Example 2, displaying data in HTML. Render fetch data in a web page, a precursor to React. HTML. Dear CTYP HTML body YOLIT equals post list /all script async function display posts try const response equals await fetch https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts if response.ok thrown error failed to fetch posts const posts equals await response.json const list equals document.get element by id post list posts.slice 0 5 for each post equals const li equals document.create element li text content equals post.title list.append child li catch error console.error error display posts /script/body/html. Breakdown. Fetches and displays the first 5 post titles. Uses DOM manipulation, preparing you for React's rendering. For you, in React, you'll fetch similarly but render with JSX. Example 3, post request, creating data. Send data to a Laravel-like API to create a resource. JavaScript. Async function create post, try, const new post equals, title, my new post, body, this is the content, user ID, 1, const response equals await fetch, https://john placeholder.typicode.com/posts, comma, method, post, headers, content type, application/JSON, body, json.stringify, new post, if, response.ok, thrown error. Failed to create post, const created post equals await response.json, console.log, created post, catch, error, console.error, error, create post. Breakdown. Method, post, specifies the HTTP method. Headers, sets JSON content type. Body, sends JSON stringified data. For you, this mimics sending a new post to a Laravel endpoint, e.g., post/API/posts. Example 4, React integration. Fetch data in a React component, connecting to your full-stack goal. JavaScript. Import React, use state, use effect, from, React, function post list, const, posts, set posts, equals use state, const, error, cedar, equals use state, null, use effect, equals, async function fetch posts, try, const response equals await fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/posts, if, response.ok, thrown error, failed to fetch posts, const data equals await response.json, set posts, data.slice, 0 5, catch, error, cedar, error.message, fetch posts, comma, if, error, return, p error, /p return, all, posts.map, post equals. Li key equals, post.id, post.title, /li/all, export default post list. Breakdown. Use effect fetches data on component mount. State, posts, error, updates the UI. JSX renders the list using map. For you, this is the pattern for fetching Laravel API data in React, e.g., /API/posts. Example 5, query parameters. Fetch posts for a specific user, like a Laravel route with parameters. JavaScript. Async function fetch user posts, user ID, try, const response equals await fetch, https://john placeholder.typicode.com/posts, user ID equals $, user ID, if, response.ok, thrown error, failed to fetch posts, const posts equals await response.json, console.log, posts, // by user ID to catch, error, console.error, fetch user posts, 1. Breakdown. Query parameter, user ID equals 1, filters data. For you, mimics Laravel's query-based routes, e.g., /API/posts, user underscore ID equals 1. Fetch API options. The second argument to fetch, URL, options, customizes the request. Common options. Method, get, post, put, delete. Headers, object for content type, authorization, etc., e.g., content type, application/JSON. Body, data to send, e.g., json.stringify, data, for post/put. Mode, CORS, no CORS, same origin, default, CORS. Credentials, omit, same origin, include, for cookies/auth. Example with options. JavaScript. Async function update post, ID, updated data, try, const response equals await fetch, https://john placeholder.typicode.com/posts/$, comma, method, put, headers, content type, application/JSON, authorization, barrier token, // for Laravel auth, body, json.stringify, updated data, if, response.ok, thrown error, failed to update, const data equals await response.json, console.log, updated, data, catch, error, console.error, update post, 1, title, updated post, body, new content. User ID, 1. For you, use headers for Laravel CSRF tokens or JWT authentication. Why use Fetch API? Compared to Axios. Fetch, built-in, no dependencies, lightweight. Good for simple apps and learning. Axios, third-party library, richer features, e.g., automatic JSON parsing, interceptors. Common in production but adds a dependency. For you, start with Fetch to understand HTTP requests, then explore Axios for advanced projects. Compared to XML HTTP request. Fetch is promise-based, simpler, and modern. XML HTTP request is outdated. Real-world use, Fetch is used in 70% plus of JavaScript projects, per 2023 web dev surveys, especially with React, and works seamlessly with Laravel APIs. How to learn the Fetch API. Here's a practical plan to master Fetch over 1 to 2 weeks, 5 to 10 hours/week, tailored to your beginner to intermediate level and full stack goals. Learning resources. MDN Web Docs, using Fetch, guide, official, detailed. Free Code Camp, JavaScript Fetch API, section, free, interactive. JavaScript.info, Fetch article for clear examples. YouTube, Traversy Media's Fetch API crash course, or the Net Ninja's Fetch tutorials. Laracast's JavaScript Fetch API, some free videos, Laravel context. Practice strategy. Daily coding, spend 30 minutes on theory, e.g., MDN, and 1 hour coding. Mini projects. Post viewer, fetch and display 5 posts in HTML. Create form, post a new post via a form and show the response. User profile, fetch a user by ID and display their details. Tools. VS Code, for coding, use LiveServer for HTML or Node.js for modules. Chrome DevTools, inspect, network, tab to see fetch requests. Postman, test JSON placeholder or a local Laravel API to understand endpoints. Track progress, save code in a GitHub repo, noting each fetch use case, get, post, etc. Tie to Laravel/React. React Prep, practice fetch in Vanilla.js, then integrate into UseEffect for components. Laravel Prep, use JSON placeholder as a stand-in for Laravel APIs, testing get/post requests. Full stack, build a small app, e.g., task list, fetching data from an API, mimicking React Laravel. Sample 1 week plan. Day 1, read MDNs, using fetch, and fetch posts with a get request. Day 2, add error handling and display posts in HTML. Day 3, create a post request to add a new post. Day 4, fetch data with query parameters, e.g., user ID equals 1. Day 5, combine get and post in a form-based app. Day 6 to 7, build a mini project, a blog viewer with fetch for posts and comments. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Forgetting.json, fetch returns a response object, not JSON. Always call .json. Fix, chain await response.json. No error handling, check response.ok and use try/catch. Fix, throw errors for, response.ok and catch network issues. Incorrect headers, post/put requests need, content type, application/JSON. Fix, add headers in the fetch options. CRS issues, ensure the API allows cross-origin requests, JSON placeholder does, local Laravel needs config. Fix, for Laravel, set CRS headers in config/cores PHP. Why this matters for your goals. The Fetch API is your bridge between React and Laravel, enabling dynamic, data-driven apps. In 1 to 2 weeks, you'll confidently fetch and manipulate API data, and in 2 to 3 months, you'll integrate Fetch into React components calling Laravel APIs. Your enthusiasm is a huge advantage. Pair it with hands-on practice to accelerate your full-stack journey. Next steps. Today, try MDN's fetch example, 30 minutes, and fetch posts from JSON placeholder. This week, build a simple blog viewer in HTML/JS using Fetch for get and post. Need help? I can debug a Fetch snippet, suggest a project, or search X for recent Fetch API tips from devs. What aspect of the Fetch API are you most excited to try, or want a specific example/project for, e.g., post form, React integration? Learn about WebSockets. As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, learning about WebSockets is an exciting step toward building real-time, interactive web applications. WebSockets enable two-way, persistent communication between a client, e.g., a React frontend, and a server, e.g., a Laravel backend, perfect for features like live chat, notifications, or real-time updates. Since you're a beginner to intermediate coder familiar with async/await and the Fetch API, I'll explain WebSockets in a clear, practical way, tying them to your Laravel/React goals. I'll cover what WebSockets are, how they work, their use in full-stack development, and provide examples and practice ideas to get you started. Let's dive in. What are WebSockets? WebSockets are a protocol and JavaScript API that enable a persistent, bidirectional connection between a client, browser, and a server over a single TCP connection. Unlike traditional HTTP requests, like Fetch API, which are request response and stateless, WebSockets allow real-time, two-way communication without polling. Key features. Bidirectional, both client and server can send messages at any time. Persistent, the connection stays open, reducing overhead compared to repeated HTTP requests. Low latency, ideal for real-time apps like chat, live sports scores, or collaborative tools. Event-driven, uses events, e.g., onMessage, OnoPen, to handle data. How it differs from Fetch API. Fetch API, one-off, client-initiated HTTP requests, e.g., get/API/posts. The server responds, and the connection closes. WebSockets, continuous connection where either side can send messages anytime, no need for repeated requests. Use case, use Fetch for static data, e.g., loading a user profile, use WebSockets for live updates, e.g., new chat messages. Why it matters for you. React, WebSockets power real-time UI updates, e.g., a live chat component. Laravel supports WebSockets via packages like Laravel Echo and Pusher or custom WebSocket servers for real-time features. Full stack, real-time apps are in high demand, e.g., 60% of modern apps use WebSockets per 2023 dev surveys, boosting your portfolio and job prospects. Benefit, adds dynamic, engaging features to your Laravel/React apps, setting you apart as a developer. How WebSockets work. WebSockets establish a connection through an HTTP handshake that upgrades to the WebSocket protocol, WS// or WSS// for secure. Once open, the connection remains active, allowing low latency message exchange. Basic flow. Handshake, the client sends an HTTP request with an upgrade, WebSocket header. The server agrees, switching to WebSocket. Connection, a persistent channel opens, identified by a URL, e.g., ws//example.com/socket. Messages, client and server send JSON, text, or binary data via events. Close, either side can close the connection, e.g., when the user leaves the app. JavaScript API, the browser's WebSocket object handles connections. New WebSocket, URL creates a connection. Events, OnoPen, onMessage, onError, onClose. Methods, send, data, close. Analogy, think of Fetch as mailing a letter, one time, wait for a reply. WebSockets are like a phone call, both sides talk freely until someone hangs up. WebSockets in action. Let's explore WebSockets with practical examples, starting with vanilla JavaScript and building to Laravel/React scenarios. Since you're familiar with async/await and Fetch, I'll focus on how WebSockets complement those skills and prepare you for full-stack development. Example 1, basic WebSocket connection. Connect to a public WebSocket server and log messages. JavaScript. // connect to a public WebSocket server. Echo provides a test server. Const socket equals new WebSocket. WSS // echo.websocket.org. Socket.onopen sadface equals console.log. Connected to WebSocket server. Socket.send. Hello, server / send a message. Socket.onMessage sadface event equals console.log. Received. Event.data / echoes back. Hello, server. Socket.onerror sadface error equals console.error. Error. Socket.onClose sadface equals console.log. Connection closed. Breakdown. New WebSocket opens a connection to WSS // echo.websocket.org, a test server that echoes messages. Onopen fires when the connection is established. OnMessage handles incoming messages, data in event.data. OnError, OnClose handle errors and disconnection. For you, this is the foundation for real-time features in your apps. Note, you can test this in a browser console or an HTML file, but you'll need a WebSocket server for real projects. More on that later. Example 2, simple chat in HTML/JS. Create a basic chat interface with WebSockets. HTML. doctyp HTML body imputed equals message input placeholder equals type a message / button and click equals send message send / button yield equals messages / all script const socket equals new WebSocket WSS // echo.websocket.org const message input equals document.get element by ID message input const messages list equals document.get element by ID messages socket.onopen sadface equals console.log connected socket.onMessage sadface event equals const equals document.create element, li text content equals event.data. Messages list.append child, li socket.onClose sadface equals console.log, disconnected, function send message, const message equals message input.value, if message, socket.send, message input.value equals / clear input, / script, / body, / HTML. Breakdown. Users type messages and click send to transmit via WebSocket. Incoming messages, echoed by the server, are displayed in AYAL. For you, this mimics a React chat component fetching messages from a Laravel WebSocket server. Example 3, WebSockets with Laravel, Pusher and Laravel Echo. Laravel doesn't natively handle WebSocket connections but integrates with Pusher, a WebSocket service, and Laravel Echo, a JavaScript library, for real-time features. Here's a simplified setup. Backend, Laravel. Install Pusher and Laravel Echo. Bash. Composer require Pusher / Pusher PHP server and install Laravel Echo Pusher.js. Configure.env with Pusher credentials, get from pusher.com. env. Broadcast_driver equals Pusher _app_id equals your app ID Pusher_app_key equals your app key Pusher_app_secret equals your app secret Pusher_app_cluster equals your cluster. Create an event in Laravel, e.g., app/events/message-sent.php. PHP. Namespace app /events, use illuminate /broadcasting/channel, use illuminate /broadcasting /interacts with sockets, use illuminate /contracts /broadcasting /should broadcast, class message sent implements should broadcast, use interacts with sockets, public $message, public function __ construct, $message, $this dash, message equals $message, public function broadcast on, return you channel, chat. Trigger the event in a controller. PHP. Use app /events/message sent, event, new message sent, new message. Frontend, JavaScript use Laravel Echo to listen for events. JavaScript. Import Echo from Laravel Echo, import Pusher from Pusher.js, window, Pusher equals Pusher, const Echo equals new Echo, broadcaster, Pusher, key, your app key, cluster, your cluster, force TLS, true, echo.channel, chat.listen, message sent, comma, e equals, console.log, new message, e.message. Breakdown. Laravel broadcasts events via Pusher. Laravel Echo listens on the chat channel for message sent events. For you, this powers real-time chat or notifications in your Laravel/React app. Example 4, React with WebSockets. Integrate WebSockets into a React component for a chat app. JavaScript. Import React, use state, use effect, from React, function chat, const, messages, set messages, equals use state, const, input, set input, equals use state, const socket equals new WebSocket, WSS // echo.websocket.org, use effect, equals, socket.onopen sadface, equals, console.log, connected, socket.onMessage sadface event, equals, set messages, previous equals previous event.data socket.onClose sadface equals console.log disconnected return equals socket.close / cleanup on unmount comma socket const send message sadface equals if input socket.send input set input return div all messages.map message index equals lead key equals index message /lead /all input value equals input /all input value equals input on change equals equals set input target.value placeholder equals type a message / button on click equals send message send /button /div export default chat. Breakdown. UseEffect sets up WebSocket listeners and cleans up on unmount. State, messages, input, updates the UI in real time. For you, replace the test server with a Laravel /pusher setup for a production chat app. WebSockets in Laravel /React projects. Here's how WebSockets fit into your full stack goals. Real-time chat, users send / receive messages instantly, e.g., a Laravel chat API with notifications, alert users to new events, e.g., new comment on your post. Live dashboards, update data like stock prices or analytics without refreshing. Collaborative tools, enable multi-user editing, e.g., Google Docs-like apps. Laravel setup. Use Pusher with Laravel Echo for quick setup, cloud-based, beginner-friendly. For advanced projects, try Laravel WebSockets, self-hosted, or Socket.io with Node.js. Configure broadcasting in config/broadcasting.php and events in app/events. React setup. Use the WebSocket API or libraries like Laravel Echo for Pusher. Manage connections in UseEffect to avoid memory leaks. Update state with useState for real-time UI changes. How to learn WebSockets. Here's a practical plan to master WebSockets over 2 to 3 weeks, 5 to 10 hours /week, tailored to your beginner to intermediate level and full stack goals. Learning resources. MDN Web Docs, WebSockets API Guide, official, detailed. Free Code Camp, WebSockets in JavaScript, tutorial, free, practical. JavaScript.info, WebSocket, article for clear explanations. YouTube, The Net Ninjas, WebSockets tutorial, or Traversy Media's, real-time apps with Laravel. Laracasts, Laravel Echo, and Pusher, videos, some free, Laravel-focused. Pusher Docs, guides for Laravel and JavaScript integration. Practice strategy. Daily coding, spend 30 minutes on theory, e.g. MDN, and 1 hour coding. Mini projects. Chat app, build a vanilla JS chat with WSS // echo.websocket.org. Notification system, simulate Laravel events, e.g. new message alerts. Live counter, update a number in real time across clients. Tools. VS Code, for coding, use Live Server for HTML or Vite for React. Chrome DevTools, inspect WebSocket connections in the Network tab. Pusher, sign up for a free account to test Laravel integration. JSON placeholder, for mock HTTP APIs, pair with WebSockets for hybrid apps. Track progress, save code in a GitHub repo, noting each WebSocket feature, connection, events, etc. Tie to Laravel /React. React prep, start with vanilla JS WebSockets, then integrate into React with UseEffect. Laravel prep, set up a local Laravel project with Pusher and broadcast a test event. Full stack, build a chat app with a Laravel backend, Pusher /Echo, and React frontend. Sample 2-week plan. Week 1. Day 1, read MDN's WebSocket guide and test a connection to WSS // echo.websocket.org. Day 2, build a simple HTML chat with send / receive messages. Day 3, handle errors and close events in your chat app. Day 4, set up a Laravel project with Pusher and broadcast a test event. Day 5 to 7, create a JS app that listens to Laravel's Pusher events. Week 2. Day 1 to 2, integrate WebSockets into a React component, e.g., Chat UI. Day 3 to 4, build a Laravel event for real-time notifications and test with Echo. Day 5 to 7, combine into a mini project, a chat app with Laravel backend and React frontend. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. No server, you need a WebSocket server, e.g., Pusher, Laravel WebSockets. Don't test without one. Fix, use WSS // echo.websocket.org for practice or set up Pusher. Connection issues. Ensure the server supports WebSockets and uses WS// or WSS//. Fix. Check server config, e.g., Laravel's broadcasting, and use WSS// for secure connections. Memory leaks. Close WebSocket connections in React when components unmount. Fix. Use return = socket.close in useEffect. Overcomplicating. Start with simple messages before tackling channels or authentication. Fix. Focus on one feature, e.g., sending messages, before adding complexity. Why this matters for your goals. WebSockets unlock real-time features that make your Laravel/React apps stand out, like live chat or instant notifications. In 2 to 3 weeks, you'll build basic WebSocket apps, and in 3 to 6 months, you'll integrate them into full-stack projects with Laravel and React. Your enthusiasm is a superpower. Combine it with hands-on practice to become a versatile full-stack developer. Comparison to Fetch. Use Fetch for one-time data, e.g., loading initial posts. Use WebSockets for continuous updates, e.g., new comments on a post. Combine them, fetch initial data, then use WebSockets for live updates. Next steps. Today, try NDN's WebSocket example, 30 minutes, and connect to WSS//echo.websocket.org. This week, build a simple HTML/JS chat app using WebSockets. Need help? I can debug a WebSocket snippet, suggest a project, e.g., Laravel chat, or search X for recent WebSocket tips from devs. What aspect of WebSockets are you most excited to try, e.g., chat app, Laravel integration, or want a specific example/project for? Learn about Laravel Echo. As a passionate CST student aiming to become a full-stack developer with Laravel and React.js, diving into Laravel Echo is a fantastic step toward building real-time, interactive web applications. Laravel Echo is a JavaScript library that simplifies working with WebSockets, enabling real-time features like live chat, notifications, or updates in your Laravel and React.js projects. Since you're a beginner to intermediate coder familiar with async/await, the Fetch API, and WebSockets, I'll explain Laravel Echo in a clear, practical way, focusing on its role in your full-stack goals. I'll cover what it is, how it works, how it integrates with Laravel and React, and provide examples and practice ideas to get you started. Let's dive in. What is Laravel Echo? Laravel Echo is a JavaScript library provided by the Laravel ecosystem to streamline real-time event broadcasting over WebSockets. It works with Laravel's broadcasting system and WebSocket services like Pusher or Laravel WebSockets to handle bidirectional, real-time communication between your server, Laravel backend, and clients, e.g., React frontend. Key features. Simplifies WebSocket interactions with an intuitive API for listening to events and channels. Integrates seamlessly with Laravel's event broadcasting system. Supports public, private, and presence channels for flexible real-time features. Works with Pusher, cloud-based, or Laravel WebSockets, self-hosted, for WebSocket connections. Lightweight and designed for Laravel, but usable in any JavaScript frontend, e.g., React. How it differs from raw WebSockets. Raw WebSockets require manual setup of connections, event handling, and server logic using the WebSocket API, e.g., new WebSocket, WSS//. Laravel Echo abstracts WebSocket complexity, providing a high-level API to listen for Laravel broadcasted events, e.g., echo.channel, chat.listen, message sent. Benefit: Echo handles connection management, authentication, and channel subscriptions, saving you time and reducing errors. Why it matters for you. Laravel Echo pairs with Laravel's broadcasting to push real-time events, e.g., new messages, notifications, to clients. React: you'll use Echo in React to listen for these events and update your UI dynamically, e.g., showing a new chat message. Full stack: real-time features are in high demand, e.g., 60% of modern apps use WebSockets per 2023 surveys, making Echo a valuable skill for chat apps, live dashboards, or notifications. Benefit: simplifies real-time development, letting you focus on building features rather than managing WebSocket protocols. How Laravel Echo works. Laravel Echo listens for events broadcasted by your Laravel backend over WebSocket channels. The backend triggers events, e.g., a new message, and Echo delivers them to subscribed clients in real time. Core workflow. Laravel backend. Define an event, e.g., message sent, that implements should broadcast. Configure a broadcasting driver, e.g., Pusher or Laravel WebSockets. Trigger the event, e.g., event, new message sent, hello. WebSocket service. Pusher or Laravel WebSockets receives the event and broadcasts it to subscribed clients. Frontend, Echo. Echo connects to the WebSocket service, e.g., Pusher. Subscribes to channels, e.g., chat, and listens for events, e.g., message sent. Updates the UI, e.g., adds a new message to a React component. Key concepts. Channels, virtual, rooms, for events, e.g., chat, notifications. Public, open to all, e.g., channel, chat. Private, require authentication, e.g., private, chat. Point 1, for user ID 1. Presence, track who's online, e.g., presence, chat, for user lists. Events, messages broadcasted by Laravel, e.g., message sent with data like, message, hello. Broadcast driver, the WebSocket service, pusher or Laravel WebSockets, that handles connections. Analogy, think of Laravel Echo as a radio receiver. Laravel broadcasts events, like setting up Laravel Echo. Echo. To use Laravel Echo, you'll need a Laravel backend, a WebSocket service, and a frontend, e.g., React or Vanilla.js. Here's a step-by-step setup focused on your Laravel/React goals. 1. Backend, Laravel setup. Prerequisites. Laravel project, e.g., Laravel 10 or 11. A broadcasting driver, pusher is beginner-friendly. Steps. Install pusher or Laravel WebSockets for self-hosted. Bash. Composer require pusher/pusher PHP server. Configure.env with pusher credentials, sign up at pusher.com for a free account. env. Broadcast_driver equals pusher_app_id equals your app ID pusher_app_key equals your app key pusher_app_secret equals your app secret pusher_app_cluster equals your cluster. Set up broadcasting in config/broadcasting.php. Pusher is preconfigured after .env setup. Create an event, e.g., app/events/messagesent.php. PHP. Namespace app/events, use illuminate /broadcasting/channel, use illuminate /broadcasting/ interacts with sockets, use illuminate /contracts /broadcasting/ should broadcast, class message sent implements should broadcast, use interacts with sockets, public $message, public function _ construct, $message, $this dash, message equals $message, public function broadcast on, return you channel, chat, / public channel. Trigger the event, e.g., in a controller or route. PHP. Use app/events/message sent, route, post, /send message, function, request $request, event, new message sent, $request -message, return response, -JSON, status equals a message sent. Note, for private/presence channels, add authentication, covered later. 2. Frontend, install Laravel Echo. Steps. Install Laravel Echo and Pusher.js in your frontend, e.g., React or Vanilla.js. Bash. Install Laravel Echo Pusher.js. Configure Echo, e.g., in resources/js/bootstrap.js for Laravel or a React app. JavaScript. Import Echo from Laravel Echo, import Pusher from Pusher.js, window, Pusher equals Pusher, window, Echo equals new Echo, broadcaster, Pusher, key, process.env.mix_pusher_app_key, your app key, cluster, process.env.mix_pusher_app_cluster, your cluster, force TLS, true. Update.env for frontend, if using Laravel mix/v. env. Mix_pusher_app_key equals $pusher_app_key, a mix_pusher_app_cluster equals $pusher_app_cluster. Compile assets. Bash. npm run dev. 3. WebSocket service. Pusher, cloud-based, beginner-friendly, handles scaling. Free tier supports 200k messages/day. Laravel WebSockets, self-hosted alternative, requires server setup, e.g., on Heroku or a VPS. Use for learning or cost saving. For now, stick with Pusher for simplicity. Laravel Echo in action. Let's explore Laravel Echo with practical examples, starting with vanilla JavaScript and building to a React/Laravel integration. These examples assume a Laravel backend with Pusher. Example 1, Basic Echo Listener, Vanilla.js. Listen for a message sent event on a public channel. HTML. Dear CTYP HTML head script equals /js/app.js/script includes echo and pusher /head body yelid equals messages /oa script / listen for message sent event on the chat channel window echo.channel chat.listen message sent comma e equals constly equals document.create element li text content equals e.message document.get element by id messages append child li /script /body /html. Test it. Trigger the event via Laravel route. PHP. Event, new message sent, hello, world. Open the HTML page and see hello, world appear in the null. Breakdown. Channel, chat, subscribes to the public chat channel. Listen, message sent, listens for the message sent event. For you, this is the foundation for real-time updates in your apps. Example 2, sending and receiving messages. Combine fetch to send messages and echo to receive them. HTML. doctyp@HTML head script equals /js/app.js/script/head body inputted equals message input placeholder equals type a message / button and click equals send message send/button yolid equals messages /all script / listen for messages window echo.channel chat.listen message sent comma e equals constantly equals document.create element lead text content equals e.message document.get element by id messages .append child lead // send message via fetchasync function send message const input equals document.get element by id message input const message equals input.value if message return try const response equals await fetch /send message comma method post headers content type application /json xcsrf token document.query selector meta name equals csrf token content body json.stringify message if response.ok, thrown error, failed to send, input.value equals / clear input, catch, error, console.error, error, /script, /body, /html. Laravel route. PHP. Breakdown. SEApp /events /message sent, route, post, /send message, function, request $request, event, new message sent, $request -message, return response, -json, status equals a message sent. Breakdown. Fetch sends a message to Laravel, which broadcasts it. Echo receives the event and updates the UI. For you, this mimics a chat app you'll build with React and Laravel. Example 3, React with Laravel Echo. Integrate Echo into a React component for a chat app. JavaScript. Import React, use state, use effect from React, import Echo from Laravel Echo, import Pusher from Pusher.js, function chat, const, messages, set messages, equals use state, const, input, set input, equals use state, use effect, equals // initialize Echo window, Pusher equals Pusher, const Echo equals new Echo, broadcaster, Pusher, key, your app key, cluster, your cluster, force TLS, true, // listen for messages Echo.channel, chat.listen, message sent, comma, e, equals, set messages, previous equals previous e.message // cleanup return equals echo.leave chat comma const send message equals async equals if input return try const response equals await fetch /send message comma method post headers content type application /json xcsrf token document.query selector meta name equals csrf token content body json.stringify message input if response.ok thrown error failed to send set input catch error console.error error return div all a messages.map message index equals lead key equals index a message /lead /all input value equals input on change equals e equals set input e.target.value placeholder equals type a message / button on click equals send message send /button /div export default chat. Breakdown. Use effect sets up Echo and listens for message sent. Fetch sends messages to Laravel /send message endpoint. State updates the UI in real time. Echo.leave chat cleans up the subscription. For you, this is a production-ready pattern for a Laravel /React chat app. Example 4, private channels. Use a private channel for user-specific events, e.g., notifications. Laravel event. PHP. Class notifications and implements should broadcast, use interacts with sockets, public $message, public $user ID, public function __ construct, $message, $user ID, $this dash message equals $message, $this dash user ID equals $user ID, public function broadcast on, return your private channel, notifications, $this dash user ID. Laravel broadcasting off, in routes /channels.php. PHP. broadcast, channel, notifications, user ID, function, $user, $user ID, return, int, $user dash ID equals sad face int, $user ID / authenticate user. Frontend, echo. JavaScript. // listen for private notifications window, echo.private, notifications, $user ID, .listen, notification sent, e, equals, console.log, notification, e.message. Breakdown. Private channel restricts access to authenticated users. Laravel authenticates the user via channels.php. For you, use this for user-specific features like private notifications. Laravel Echo with Laravel and React. Here's how Echo fits into your full-stack goals. Chat app, users send/receive messages in real time, Laravel broadcasts, React displays. Notifications, alert users to events, e.g., new comment, via private channels. Live updates, refresh dashboards or feeds without polling, e.g., new posts. Presence features, show who's online in a chat room, using presence channels. Laravel setup. Use Pusher for quick setup or Laravel WebSockets for self-hosted. Define events which should broadcast and broadcast on public/private/presence channels. Secure private channels with channels.php. React setup. Initialize Echo in a useEffect hook. Subscribe to channels and update state with event data. Clean up subscriptions to avoid memory leaks. Comparison to Fetch. Fetch, for one-time data, e.g., initial chat history. Echo, for real-time updates, e.g., new messages. Combine, fetch initial data, then use Echo for live updates. How to learn Laravel Echo. Here's a practical plan to master Laravel Echo over 2 to 3 weeks, 5 to 10 hours/week, tailored to your beginner to intermediate level and full-stack goals. Learning resources. Laracasts, Laravel Echo, and Real-Time Laravel series, some free videos. Laravel Docs, broadcasting section, covers Echo setup and events. Pusher Docs, guides for Laravel and JavaScript integration. Free Code Camp, WebSockets with Laravel, includes Echo basics. YouTube, The Net Ninjas, Laravel Echo tutorial, or Dev Marketers, Real-Time Laravel. X posts, search hashtag Laravel Echo or hashtag WebSockets for community tips. I can do this if you'd like. Practice strategy. Daily coding, spend 30 minutes on theory, e.g., Laravel docs, and 1 hour coding. Mini projects. Chat app, send/receive messages with a public channel, Vanilla.js or React. Notification system, broadcast user-specific alerts via private channels. Presence tracker, show online users in a chat room. Tools. VS Code, for Laravel and React coding. Laravel, local dev environment, e.g., Laravel Sail or Homestead. Pusher, free account for testing. Chrome DevTools, inspect WebSocket connections in Network tab. Track progress, save code in a GitHub repo, noting each Echo feature, channels, events, etc. Tie to Laravel/React. React Prep, start with Echo in Vanilla.js, then integrate into React with useEffect. Laravel Prep, set up a Laravel project with Pusher and broadcast a test event. Full stack, build a chat app with Laravel, backend, and React, frontend, using Echo. Sample 2-week plan. Week 1. Day 1, read Laravel's broadcasting docs and set up Pusher. Day 2, create a message sent event and trigger it via a route. Day 3, use Echo in Vanilla.js to listen for messages. Day 4, build a simple HTML chat with fetch, send, and echo, receive. Day 5 to 7, add error handling and test private channels. Week 2. Day 1 to 2, integrate Echo into a React component for chat. Day 3 to 4, set up a presence channel to show online users. Day 5 to 7, build a mini project, a notification system with Laravel and React. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Missing pusher keys, ensure.env has correct pusher credentials. Fix, double-check pusher_app_asterisk values and sync with config/broadcasting.php. CRS issues, Pusher uses HTTPS, but local Laravel needs CRS config for private channels. Fix, update config/cores.php to allow your frontend URL. Auth errors, private channels require Laravel's broadcasting auth route. Fix, ensure broadcast service provider is enabled and channels.php is set up. Memory leaks, unsubscribe from channels in React when components unmount. Fix, use echo.leave channel in useEffect cleanup. Event not firing, check event class implements should broadcast and channel names match. Fix, log events in Laravel and verify Pusher debug console. Why this matters for your goals. Laravel Echo makes real-time features like chat, notifications, or live updates accessible, elevating your Laravel/React apps. In 2 to 3 weeks, you'll build basic real-time apps, and in 3 to 6 months, you'll create production-ready features like a chat system. Your enthusiasm is a huge asset. Pair it with hands-on practice to become a standout full-stack developer. Comparison to Fetch/WebSockets. Fetch, for static data, e.g., initial chat history. Raw WebSockets, for custom, low-level real-time apps, more complex. Echo, for Laravel integrated, real-time events with minimal setup. Combine, fetch initial data, use Echo for live updates. Next steps. Today, read Laravel's broadcasting docs, 30 minutes, and set up a pusher account. This week, build a simple HTML/JS chat with Laravel and Echo. Need help? I can debug an Echo snippet, suggest a project, e.g., notification system, or search X for recent #Laravel Echo tips. What aspect of Laravel Echo are you most excited to try, e.g., chat, notifications, React integration, or want a specific example/project for? Deep search.